based on the whole meeting request system and also what you should present in your meetings. Today you'll hear from various individuals from route ASM, Flightglobal, and organising your meetings to creating the perfect presentation and the different elements required. On this webinar we have Simon Baxendale, Scheduling Manager for Routes, Mike St-Laurent, Senior Consultant for ASM, and Michael Walker, Account Manager at Flightglobal. To kick us off with Simon, who will guide you through the process of requesting your meetings along with our brand new electronic meeting system.
Hello everybody, my name is Simon Baxendale. I look after all the one-to-one meetings for the Routes events, and we'll be looking after everyone's diary for Routes in Chicago. So what we're going to discuss initially is the first point really about requesting your meetings. You get your PRC as soon as you register. You receive this via email from our registration department. This is individual to you and is required to access the meeting system. Once you've logged into Routes Online into your personal profile, you'll see the PRC box found in the middle of the home page. This will allow you to insert your PRC into the box, your one-to-one meeting. By clicking that, then that will direct you straight to the meeting request system. Once you've accessed the system, you'll see the page on the right-hand side. This page is the landing page for the system. It will initially give you a series of instructions on how to use the system, what's the basic functionality if it's your first time using the system. You'll see in the middle of the page the different company types that you'll be able to request. So we've got airlines, airports, tourism authorities, and slot coordinators. To request meetings to the airlines, you can see there's well in this box provided that there's airline type and the airline box. If you know the airline you wish to meet with, you can type it into the box provided and it will autofill for ease of use. If you'd like to know to sort of figure out or find the quicker search for like cargo carriers, for example, low cost for charter, you can narrow the search using the airline type box. Selecting your request, you can also add box as well at the bottom of the page if you want to add any information about that particular meeting. Once you select that meeting, it will then populate the box on the right-hand side. As you continually select more meetings, this will then populate higher, and the boxes at the top will turn green to indicate how many meetings you've got left of your entitlement. As well as requesting your primary requests, you've also got the option to request reserve requests. These are recommended. These will cover you against all eventualities and unforeseen circumstances. Our goal really is to make sure that you meet your entitlement and maximise the amount of meetings you take at the event to make it more beneficial for yourselves. The drop-down functionality of this system enables you to move the priorities of your meeting requests at any particular point. You can drop them down into reserve requests if needs be. And if a new airline registers, you can add that into at any particular point in your request. Once you've submitted your request, you can also edit the meeting at any point up until scheduling close that particular request. This will allow you to add your extra colleagues to the meeting, change the airline, or look for any additional airlines that have registered. In addition to meeting with airlines, you also have the option to meet with airports and tourism authorities. These are in addition to your regular airline meeting entitlement, and each delegate has an additional 5 meetings of this type. To do this, select the airports or tourism authorities tab in the middle of the page. Once you've done that, you'll have the option to filter by country to search for which airports are actually registered from that particular country. As mentioned before, there is a free text box provided, so at any point during the meeting request process, if you want to ask a question to any member of the Routes team, you can do so, as well as putting information such as flight times or any airlines or airports you wish to meet that aren't currently registered. Once you have submitted your requests, the draft diary functionality was made for you. It's best to note that this is still in a draft format, and we are adding meetings to this at every point during now up until scheduling closes, and that any additional meetings will show straight away into your diaries as they've been added. In addition to your meeting requests, we also have the route exchange briefings. These briefings are dedicated briefings set up by the airlines that will provide you information about their future going forward. If you would like to attend any of these individual briefings, You can find them on the Briefings and Conference tab found in the middle of the tab bar at the top of the page. This will send an email to a Roots member of staff, and we will make sure that this briefing is added into your diary. Scheduling closes for Roots in Chicago on the 5th of September. After that point, we will be unable to add any more meetings into your diary, as we will be starting to finalize this process and make sure that there aren't any available exclusively on the Roots app, and we'll be able to show you what meetings we then finalize for the 3 days of the event. A paper version is also available on Sunday the 21st of September. This is from the Diary Device Desk and will be found in the Networking Village. In addition to your pre-scheduled meetings, you also have the option to make additional requests on site. This is using the traditional paper-based system found again at the Diary Device Desk. If you have any questions about that, dedicated members of the Roots team will be at hand to help you. For the first time at any Roots event, we'll also have a digital extra meeting system. This will also be found through the Roots app, and this will run alongside the traditional paper-based system, but will give you up-to-date versions of your meetings requests that you've made, and will give you an update of where the process stands with your requests. I'll now move this on to the presentation.
Thank you very much, Simon. All right, so I'm Mike St-Laurent. I'm a senior consultant with ASM, but I joined ASM just at the beginning of this year, and I spent many, many years with Air Canada, where I was in a number of roles, including network planning. So I've seen many, many presentations from the perspective of an airline, and I'm just going to give you an overview of really what you should be including in terms of the information the airlines really need to see, and also what is not as important. Okay, so the first thing, I'm really going to cover two scenarios, because when you go into an airline meeting, you've either got an opportunity that you can really present in terms of quantifiable market opportunities. You've got the data to do a proper traffic forecast, projected demand, load factors, and so forth, and really a business case you can present. So in that one, you're really looking at the first scenario, and really, in both cases, I've broken the meetings out into three components. In both cases, the first part where you want to spend a couple minutes just talking to the airline, establishing what their knowledge is of your market, how much they know about it, and what opinions they may have formed of it already. The second part of the meeting, essentially, looking at the strong opportunity scenario, that's where you want to present your business case, your traffic forecast, how that opportunity compares to other alternatives the airline may have, and what you as an airport are going to be able to do to help deliver the traffic. Obviously, in a case where, in a case where you don't have the data to present a proper forecast, then you want to talk in more general terms in terms of the location of the airport with a map to show where it is, especially if it's an airport the airline may not be familiar with, what your current network is, the market sizes, indirect passenger flows, and catchment characteristics. Either way, it's really important to leave about 8 to 10 minutes at the end of the meeting for a discussion with the airline and to get some feedback from them. Some key points to remember in preparing presentations for airlines: they have to be short and impactful. In a 20-minute Roots meeting, you don't want to have more than 6 or 8 slides to present. It's important to allow time for discussion and feedback from the airline and not be presenting right till the end of the meeting slot. And also to focus on the items that are important to airlines in making route planning decisions, which are essentially the size and value of the market, how the traffic is flowing really doesn't factor into network planning decisions, like pictures of the airport, pictures of the facilities, information about projects you may have underway to expand terminals or runways, lists of all the companies in the region, a lot of economic data. These are just the kind of things that aren't nearly as relevant to a network planner. The key point to remember is the network planner wants to know about the market as opposed to the airport. So when you've got a strong opportunity that you can produce a proper forecast, that's what you want to lead with. That's the most important part of the presentation. So recommendation is to get that out onto the table up front, as opposed to building a story and delivering the most impactful part at the end. So in this example, which is what you'd produce for a network carrier, traffic projections are broken down into the 4 key segments of airline bridge. And this is just really using projecting what they can expect to carry if they were to introduce the service that you're proposing to them, with load factors and at the very bottom. So the key is, and obviously airlines are going to do their own forecasts anyway. They're never going to take what you've produced and run with it. But this shows that using a scientific approach and data available, industry data available, that it is a very viable market opportunity for them. The other thing is important for network carriers to show a breakdown in terms of what is in that beyond and behind traffic. So you can see the example in the box there, and it's just really a list of destinations. Essentially, you're just taking that one number on the forecast for behind and beyond, and just breaking down which key markets that includes. The next thing you want to show how they're going to generate a lot of incremental traffic versus cannibalizing existing routes that they're already serving. So what you want to show them is where they are today, and obviously, in this example, which is just a sample market, but you're showing how that traffic on that route is moving today by carrier and by hub, just so they can see where they are today, to kind of give you a baseline. Then you want to look ideally at how your opportunity may compare to other opportunities that airline has. All airlines have a list of potential route opportunities, not just one. So when they bring a new aircraft into the fleet or they have an opportunity to expand, there's multiple options for every aircraft. And so what you want to do is look at how your market compares to other markets in your part of the world that the airline may not be serving, just to see how it stacks up. So in this case, you're just going to, into the airline, so depending on what part of the world they're from their home markets, you've looked at your market and you've looked at comparable opportunities for the airline just to see how it stacks up. And it's also a chance to discuss with the airline where they see you on their list of priorities for that part of the world. The other thing you want to show a comparison with is how the yields or average fares compare. So again, look, and in this case, you might want to compare to markets the airline's already serving. So for example, if you're pitching to a U.S. airline and you're pitching a European route, then you'll want to compare the average fares to your particular market against some of the other European routes, including some that they may fly. Again, just to give a benchmark of how the passenger value of your market compares to some other markets that may be serving already. As I mentioned, there's going to be times you may not be able to produce a forecast, either you run the whole case or it's just a market for which there's not a lot of reliable data. In this case, the focus needs to be on more general information. For example, like as I mentioned, a map just to show where the airport is, especially if it's a lesser known market to the airline you're meeting with, and just what the proximity is to major cities and regions and to other competitor airports. And some catchment data, just a note on catchment data, because airlines tend to take little notice of it because most airports overstate it. A lot of the presentations I've seen in the past, the catchment area is really just simply some kind of a circle drawn around the airport and a number which represents the population in that area. But often there's other airports in that same region that are really capturing that traffic, so sometimes that'll really be counting other areas, catchment areas as your own. So it's really only relevant to assess leakage, because airlines generally establish a market size based on the traffic data, not on the population data. So the only time the catchment information is really relevant is if you can show a case to the airline that the market size in terms of traffic is understated, because there is a significant leakage to other airports in your area. And if you've got data to really be able to prove that fact, then that obviously is very helpful and should be included. And also, the airlines will want to know what service you currently have. So which airlines are flying to your airport now, which destinations they're serving, and what the top indirect markets are, specifically those relevant to the airline. And then try to relate the size of those indirect markets, again, to comparable alternative choices for the airline, as well as comparing the average fares to alternative choices for the airline. Lastly, you just want to brief the airlines on what you can do to support them if they bring in the service. So how you can help them deliver traffic and revenue. So whatever marketing plans you're prepared to put on the table. Stakeholder support. The most important stakeholder usually to an airline is the tourist board. So if you've got them on board and they're prepared to put together plans and make commitments to help drive revenue, then that's something that needs to be put forward. Driving corporate traffic, whether it's brokering corporate sales agreements or other initiatives that you're able to take to help deliver corporate traffic in your market to the airline if the service is introduced, that should be put forward. And any other route incentives, be they aeronautical incentives, cost breaks. Essentially, whatever you as an airport are able to do to support the airline, you want to put that forward at this point in the meeting. And that is really all. That should be the end of the presentation. So those are the key elements. And as I said, it's important to leave about 8 to 10 minutes at the end to have a discussion with the airline. Ask them how the opportunity sounds to them. Is it something they would consider? And if not, why not? So just what the reasons are. Either they think the market's too small or the yield's too low. Or really, if you want to establish what their objections are and what obstacles they may have so that you can then work on ways to address them and ultimately try to the opportunity.
Okay, so I'll now hand the presentation over to Mick from Flightglobal, who'll be able to speak to how Flightglobal will back up what Mike has said and the information they can give.
Okay, thanks Tom and thanks Mike, and hello everyone. My name is Michael Walker from Flightglobal, and as we said in the previous presentations, we've looked at arranging your meetings and also preparing your presentations. We'll now look at the content of your presentations and how we can help you with that in terms of news, data, analysis and other key information, all from the Flightglobal dashboard. So this will help you stay up to date with the latest news and events that are affecting the airlines and the industry. It will keep you allowed to identify new opportunities. You'll be able to research every airline, including startups and low costs, with our detailed airline profiles, and you'll gain an understanding of how airlines and airports have evolved with year-on-year ASK, seat and route comparisons. You'll also see how to research your national and international competitors. So this first page is the Flightglobal dashboard. It's a landing page, and here you'll find a wealth of airline and airport information. You'll have access to airline and airport profiles, network and fleet details, news and industry updates. On a detailed news item, these are written from our editorials team and our journalists from around the world. Within this, there's highlighted text links. So with one click, glance, a lot of details for that. You'll have an airline overview including the fleet, financials, passengers, and also key headline information. Now for researching the airlines, you have access to more granular information, including aircraft details, again more financial information, passenger numbers, and load factors. It will also show you year-on-year trends for comparison analysis. This will give you a very detailed understanding for the airlines that you wish to engage with. There's also key airline information with regards to routes. So we have access to all schedules operated, flights, seats, ASKs, and again, a year-on-year comparison. So this will help you to identify new and ceased routes, and you can even drill down to the schedule's information, looking at departures, departure times, arrival times. Again, this is key to understand the airline's current network. And you can view this, but you can also export this as well. Alongside the dashboard, we've included Flight Maps Analytics as an additional analysis tool. This includes all of the scheduled flights globally with an intuitive selection to run your query. This will allow you to produce a map and analysis on routes. And this example shows flights from Abu Dhabi to Asia. You can also load your what-if parameters to see what the impact would be for introducing the route on existing routes. There are also pie charts available which will detail market share by different variables, by frequency, capacity, and ASKs. We also maintain a database of all aircraft operated. So this will give you a view of all the aircraft that are operated by an airline, but also understand their future fleet development. As you can see here on the screen, it shows the orders for that airline. In terms of competitive information, we have profiles for all airports and airlines globally, detailing the operating airlines at those airports, currently routes operated, financial information, and the types of aircraft that operate there. This will allow you to benchmark yourselves and position yourselves against your competitors. Key information such as number of flights, number of seats available, ASKs, destinations, countries and regions served, again, all available to export. Now this tool is also available not just on the desktop but also on your tablet and mobile device, so you have access to this no matter where you are. So as part of Routes, we're providing a free trial to this service for 1 month for you to utilize and prepare for your Routes meetings, with details and link on the presentation. You'll also have access to all of the information that I've shown you and a whole lot more, so please do this. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in Routes.
Okay, thank you, Michael. So thank you for listening to this presentation. We'd like to do a quick question and answer session if any of you have any questions. Please use the dashboard on the right hand side of your screen, the webinar controls, to ask any questions if you should have any, and we'll just wait a few minutes to see if anyone's got any questions. Okay, it doesn't look like anyone's actually got any questions at this time. However, this webinar has been recorded and will be going up online on the Routes Online website. I will be sending out an email communication to all of you, so if you wish to download this with the audio along with the accompanying slides, please feel free to do so. I'd just like to thank everyone for their time. Bear with me 1 second, actually we might have a question. Should all presentations be in a digital format or hard copy? And that's Mike St-Laurent.
My recommendation would be a digital format. One thing, and I have experience as this as an airline, is going to a Routes event, and especially because I attended Routes events many years ago when everything was done in hard copy, and the airlines get so many at the end of that there's just no physical way to bring them all back to the head office. And I've actually seen cases where airlines are literally dumping presentations in on the last night because they don't want to pack them in their suitcase. So the digital copy is great, much preferred. You know, in terms of presenting, you can present on a hard copy or on an iPad. It's great, but leaving a hard copy with the airline, I wouldn't recommend. Much better to leave a digital copy, either on a USB stick or, you know, if you want to follow it up and email it later. That's probably. Better. Okay, once again, thank you for your time. Oh.
what would be the frequency of updates, the information on FlightGlobal's tools? So, Michael, if you could answer that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an online service, so the news and information is updated 24/7. The news that you see comes through every minute, every hour, every day. So it is updated constantly, as is the schedules and fleet information that we hold there as well.
No problem. I've got a bit of off-the-cuff one here from Scott, for you, Mike. Do you really take the gifts home, or are they normally left?
The gifts were generally taken home. I mean, obviously, if it was something that was really uninteresting, then that would be left behind. But most of the time, they were taken home. And often, what I would do is take them back to the office, and we'd kind of pool them with some colleagues, basically to split it up.
No problem. We've got another question here. Why not discuss airport facilities and improvements? When does it provide an operational edge over competing airports, and also if the airport does not include the airlines in the debt service?
Market size and market value, and I think, the airline wants to know that the facilities are there to service them, but that's something they really get far less into, and really only becomes a factor once the decision has been made to serve that market. As an airline, I just want to know that you're able to handle my flight. I don't need to know how many hundreds of flights you can have or how many hundreds of gates you have. I just need to know that you can handle my flight and give me good service. And really, that's the extent, of what I need to know about the airport. But that's much, much less important than the information about the market. And until the airline's convinced that the market is worth serving, then the operational info about the airport is not very relevant.
Okay, I'll just wait a few more minutes to see if there's any more questions to come in. Okay, thank you once again, everyone, for your time, and there will be an email sent out. And if you have any further questions that we haven't answered, please feel free to contact myself, which is thomas.atkinson, that's ATKINSON, @ubm.com. That's Thomas, THOMAS, .Atkinson, ATKINSON, @ubm.com. Once again, thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you in more routes.